The studio affiliated with Warner Brothers had a long-term deal that prevented me from doing it. Olivia de Havilland broke new ground in 1944 when she successfully sued Warner Brothers, an action never before taken by an actor. However, her secrets extended well beyond that. The Hollywood good girl misled everyone with her furious conflicts with her sister and her surprising romance with Howard Hughes. Here we unveil the story of the woman who swindled Hollywood for more than 70 years. Tokyo, Japan was the site of Olivia de Havilland's birth. On July 1, 1916, Falter was a professor and patent attorney from Britain, and Lillian was a teacher. She was born to these two professions. Surrounded by traditional Japanese dwellings, the family resided in a large house with a Western-style sao. Their family was already in disarray when Olivia was born, but she grew up hearing temple bells and her mother's English songs and seeing cherry blossoms and British tea ceremonies. Speculation about Walter's infidelity and Lillian's struggles adjusting to life abroad put a strain on their marriage. When Walter proposed that Olivia stay with a Japanese family so she could learn about their culture, things took a turn for the worse. In 1999, Lillian and her daughters chose to leave Japan because she refused. With Olivia and their younger sister Joan, she slipped away on a ship to San Francisco, abandoning Walter in the process. Saratoga is a little hamlet south of San Francisco, and Lillian relocated there to raise her two kids alone. Joan, who was ill frequently and had to work to support her family, was someone she believed would benefit from being outside. With her experience as an actor under her belt, Lillian began to instruct students in the art of drama. Olivia quickly developed a passion for school performances after observing her mother's lessons. When Olivia's teacher placed her as the lead in Alice in Wonderland when she was 14 years old, her passion for acting blossomed. Olivia, unlike her stepfather, George Fontaine, felt completely at ease and immersed in the plot when performing on stage. He advised her to leave acting because he didn't think she was passionate about it. Olivia turned him down and eventually left home when he offered her the option to stop acting or stay. She continued her playing career in school and community theater after moving in with friends of the family. At the age of 18, her perseverance paid off when she portrayed Haria in a stage performance of Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. An assistant to the renowned director Max Reinhardt was in the crowd, scouting potential actors for the same play's forthcoming Hollywood Bowl staging. As a second understudy for Haria, the assistant cast Olivia after she was so impressed. The leading lady and her co-star only had a week to prepare for the premiere. After the first understudy left, Olivia took over and delivered a spectacular performance on September 15, 1934. After seeing Olivia perform, Reinhardt was so enamored that he cast her as Haria in a Warner Brothers film adaptation of A Midsummer Night's Dream and hired her for the subsequent tour. Although Olivia's original intention was to pursue a career in education, she was eventually persuaded to sign a 5-year contract with a weekly salary of $200 by Reinhardt and a Warner Brothers producer. It wasn't a windfall, but it did launch her into a life-altering profession in Hollywood. Even her initial screen tests were nerve-wracking because of how difficult Hollywood was for her. To illustrate the point, during her initial audition for A Midsummer Night's Dream, her outfit was too big and she had to use pins to keep it from falling apart. The studio also sent in a vocal coach in an attempt to Americanize her voice, but her slow, delicate delivery was too much. Fortunately, Reinhardt was content with her voice as it was. The 1935 film adaptation of A Midsummer Night's Dream gave her her breakthrough role. A star-studded premiere and a massive budget made this production monumental for its day. On the red carpet, Olivia tripped over her dress, a symptom of her anxiety at the occasion. However, after shocking reviewers with her performance, she found herself in high demand. In 1935, nevertheless, she starred with Errol Flynn in Captain Blood, and her career took off from there. After another actress pulled out at the last minute, 26-year-old Flynn was cast in place of Olivia, who was just 19 years old and was largely unknown. Despite Flynn's lack of acting experience, Warner Brothers gambled on him, and the payoff was evident in the opening scene. The electrifying chemistry between Olivia and Flynn propelled Captain Blood to immediate success, with over $135 million, which was really popular back then. They appeared to be handling their newfound celebrity with grace, and critics praised their performances. Olivia spoke out about her affection on Flynn later on, but they kept their connection completely professional since he was married. Their on-screen chemistry was already riveting, but the tension between them only added to it. After Captain Blood was a smashing hit, Olivia and Flynn went on to star in a string of films together for the next 6 years. Olivia played Maid Marian, and Flynn played Robin Hood in The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1938, one of 8 films in which they appeared together. Cast and crew worked tirelessly to make this film with $4 million in box office receipts and 3 Oscars to its name. It was a smashing success. They became one of Hollywood's most adored on-screen couples thanks to the enthusiastic reception their performances received from audiences. Final scenes from their 1941 film, They Died with Their Boots, including Flynn's character telling Olivia, "Walking through life with you, ma'am, has been a very gracious thing." The sequence felt like a farewell for both their characters and their iconic relationship. Olivia was actively seeking larger roles, even while she was enjoying success in her flicks starring Flynn. Warner Brothers refused to allow Olivia work on Gone with the Wind in 1939, despite her intense desire to play Melanie Hamilton in the film. Olivia, who would not let up, approached Jack Warner's wife Anne directly and begged her for assistance. The part transformed Olivia's life, and Anne was instrumental in helping her get it. Gone with the Wind broke records with its $32 million in box office receipts upon its release, and became a cultural phenomenon. Olivia was nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, but she did not win for her portrayal of the sweet and innocent Melanie. Her status as one of Hollywood's finest was further cemented by the nomination. After Gone with the Wind, Olivia's career skyrocketed, and she went from being Errol Flynn's co-star to a major player in her own right. She abandoned the innocent part she had played so frequently for more demanding ones. She was nominated for another Academy Award, this time for Best Actress for her outstanding performance in 1941's Hold Back the Dawn. But her sister Joan Fontaine ultimately won. Olivia demonstrated her permanence by becoming one of Hollywood's highest-paid actresses in the early 1000s, 940s, earning a substantial $400,000 per year, a substantial sum for that era. Because Hollywood Studios was in control, though, her accomplishment was not without its frustrations. Studios had the power to penalize performers who disobeyed their orders. Olivia was subject to a no-pay suspension if she declined an offer for a gig. Not only did these suspensions cut into her earnings, but they also extended her contract for a lot longer than the first contract said. This kept the actors under the jurisdiction of the studio. Olivia was benched for 25 weeks between 1939 and 1943 for her refusal to appear in a film. Warner Brothers decided to renew her contract, but in exchange she had to turn down other major roles, such as in The Gay Sisters and George Washington Slept Here. The continual drama and subsequent confinement finally got to her in 101,943. Olivia believed she had completed her 7 years, but Warner Brothers said she owed them 6 months due to her lengthy unemployment. In her frustration, she made the decision to resist. She tracked down an attorney by the name of Martin Gang, who discovered a statute from the Golden State that stated no personal service contract may be longer than 7 years. Before now, no one had ever prosecuted a Hollywood figure under this statute. In August of 1943, Olivia took a chance by suing Warner Brothers. Nobody had ever challenged a big studio in this manner before. Olivia lived off her money and visited injured soldiers in military hospitals while she was unable to work due to the litigation. Olivia maintained her composure in the face of Warner Brothers' attempts to humiliate her by characterizing her as entitled and unappreciative. Everybody was impressed when she answered, "I didn't refuse, I declined," in court when questioned whether she had refused to work. The court found in favor of Olivia in March 1944, declaring that Warner, her contract couldn't be extended for another 7 years by Brothers. Despite the studio's appeal, the California Court of Appeals affirmed the verdict in December 1944, stating that the studio's conduct were unjust and drawing comparisons to slavery. Olivia was officially victorious when the California Supreme Court declined to consider the matter. It was a watershed moment in the history of Hollywood. After Olivia's victory, no studio could retain an actor for longer than 7 years, regardless of circumstances. This ended years of complete control over actors by the studios. Actors were thus granted greater leeway in casting their parts, and despite a 2-year absence from cinema acting, Olivia Newton-John's career was unaffected by her 1979 lawsuit against MCA Records, which sought to terminate her music contract. Playing Jody Norris, a young woman who falls in love, has a child outside of marriage, and gives him up to be raised by someone else, she returned in 1946 with a boom. The drama follows her as she grows a prosperous business and in the end reunites with her son in the midst of WRI. Olivia had to portray Jody's transformation from an optimistic adolescent to a strong, smart, and regretful older lady. She received her first Academy Award for the deeply affecting performance she gave. Not only did Olivia win the award in 1947, but she also proved that her struggle for better parts had been worthwhile. The disturbing 1948 film The Snake Pit following a mentally ill lady who, for some reason, finds herself in a mental institution and has no recollection of her journey there. With its depiction of overcrowding, brutal treatments, and degrading conditions, the film revealed the truth about life in these hospitals. Olivia did extensive research for the part, visiting mental hospitals to observe patients' actions, and even simulating an electroshock treatment session to put herself in her character's shoes. Her moving and evocative performance left an indelible impression on all who witnessed it. Conversations regarding the Snake Pit have an impact on the actual world. The public's increased focus on subpar mental health care led to legislative changes in 13 states. Olivia took home the esteemed Volpe Cup at the Venice Film Festival, a recognition that was well deserved by critics. The picture was a smashing success despite the fact that some felt it exaggerated events. Olivia de Havilland cemented her place as one of the greatest actors of all time. She portrayed the timid and uneasy 1840s New Yorker Catherine Sloper in The Snake Pit. She had to go through a radical makeover for the role. She groomed her hair in an aesthetically unpleasing fashion and gained weight. It was difficult on set. Using the new method technique, Montgomery Clift was powerful and emotional, in contrast to Rafe Richardson's usual acting manner. Despite Olivia's internal conflict, she skillfully portrayed Catherine's hardships, making them more relatable. Both reviewers and moviegoers gushed about the release of the film. In 1950, Olivia received her second Best Actress Oscar. She thanked director William Weir and then left the stage after a brief address. This victory further cemented her status as a major figure in Hollywood. Olivia yearned for complex and demanding parts, not light and fluffy ones. In the 1952 film My Cousin Rachel, she portrayed an enigmatic character whose intentions were murky at best. Olivia read the book multiple times to completely grasp the character. She went on to play more interesting parts in subsequent years, such as a mentally ill woman in The Ambassador's Daughter and a beacon of light in The Piazza. She demonstrated that she could delicately address delicate subjects. In addition to her award-winning performance in the 1986 miniseries Anastasia, Olivia has made appearances on television in live dramas. Olivia continued to challenge herself even as she matured. For example, she declined the part of Blanche Dubois in A Streetcar Named Desire because she didn't think it was fascinating. Lady in a Cage, a disturbing thriller she starred in 1964, was another one of her unsettling films. Critics lauded Olivia's impressive performance despite the movie's contentious nature. Olivia always did her best, even when faced with challenges. She was hell-bent on proving that she was more than meets the eye. She was one of the most admired and gifted actors of her day because of the risks she took and the time she devoted to her work. Olivia was frequently referred to as the attractive one, while Joan was hailed as the intelligent one. Their rivalry and jealousy were fueled by the parallels, and their battles became legendary. Joan allegedly broke her collarbone when Olivia shoved her into a pool. Afterwards, Joan came clean about her childhood thoughts of harming Olivia in revenge. Despite their animosity for one another, both of them pursued acting as careers when they entered their teenage years. However, their mother would only support one of their acting ambitions. Joan, intent on proving she was just as gifted as Olivia, wasted little time following in her footsteps once Olivia got her start. Things became worse and their stepfather, George Fontaine, couldn't stop comparing them. Joan had reached her breaking point at the age of 16. To avoid being in Olivia's shadow, she uprooted her life and went in with their biological father in Tokyo. Their animosity resumed at the same level when Joan returned to the United States 2 years later. With her newfound self-assurance, Joan set her sights on following in Olivia's footsteps as an actor. A rivalry that would last a lifetime was thus born. In 1939, Olivia rose to Hollywood stardom for her part in Gone with the Wind. The following year, Joan landed the lead role in Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca. The sisters' animosity reached a fever pitch in 1941, when they were both nominated for Best Actress at the Academy Awards, due to their never-ending quest for major parts in stardom. Hold Back the Dawn nominated Olivia and Suspicious Joan. When Joan's name was revealed as the winner on Oscar night, the sisters were the center of attention, and their tension was palpable. Joan allegedly rejected Olivia's efforts at reconciliation, and some claim that Olivia flat out refused to congratulate Joan. Whatever the case may be, the situation exacerbated their already tense relationship. All I know about him is that he's had 4 wives and written 1 book. Too bad it's not the other way around. Joan attacked Olivia's new husband, Marcus Goodrich, in 1946, which made Olivia unhappy and caused her to stop talking to Joan for years. Joan jokingly said, "I married first, won the Oscar before Olivia did, and if I die first, she'll be mad because I beat her to it." Their quarrel progressed from private to public. They mocked each other in interviews. While Olivia was receiving her Best Actress award in 1947 for To Each His Own, Joan went to the ceremony to offer her congratulations. Their status as Hollywood's estranged sisters was cemented when the snub was captured on video and widely reported in newspapers. It seems as though their animosity persisted even throughout the 1975 funeral for their mother. Another public altercation ensued when Joan claimed that Olivia had concealed the news of their mother's death from her. Olivia strongly refuted the allegations, describing Joan's charges as unnecessary drama. Not even the 1,978 Academy Awards, their final public appearance together, failed to strengthen their relationship. Joan passed away in 2013 at 96 years of age, while Olivia passed away in 2016. Olivia lived to be 104 years old, about 7 years longer than Joan. She passed away in 2020. They achieved a lot together, but their lifelong feud made it all seem insignificant. Ultimately, the truth about their romance lingered, and viewers were left to ponder the sisters' actual relationship. The fascinating life that Olivia de Havilland led away from Hollywood was as bit as fascinating as her playing career. In 1939, she crossed paths with the eccentric billionaire Howard Hughes, who was hell-bent on winning her heart and pulled off some spectacular stunts to prove it. He even got his first movie role one day, along with lavish presents, like an exquisite 5-carat emerald engagement ring. Howard stunned everyone by bringing his private plane to a beach close to Olivia's residence. Howard was too domineering, though, so their romance didn't endure. Even tapping her phone, Olivia was convinced he was eavesdropping on her. The worst part was when Howard was involved in a catastrophic vehicle accident and tried to make Olivia take the blame, claiming that she refused to accompany him to the dentist, which was Howard's fault. Olivia decided she had had enough and ended their relationship, taking back the emerald ring and all of his other presents. In the late 1930s, Olivia had her most endearing relationship with Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy and Olivia began dating in 1939 after he accompanied her to the premiere of Gone with the Wind. There was a refreshing lack of pretentiousness in their Hollywood romance. Olivia was trained to fly by Jimmy, who was also a pilot. Jimmy enlisted in the military in 1941 as World War II loomed, and Olivia liked flying with him and appreciated his expertise. But their relationship didn't endure long because their careers were both booming. Following that, Olivia and Jimmy remained inseparable. She declined an offer to star in It's a Wonderful Life alongside her ex-boyfriend because she felt uncomfortable doing it. This was many years ago. Olivia's connection with director John Huston was the most intense and dramatic one she had. They met and fell in love while filming This Our Life in 1941. John was wed, yet they were inseparable. Their romance was all Hollywood could talk about, especially because Olivia had a reputation for being so prim and proper. They startled many by openly living together by the end of shooting. John was renowned for being with a lot of women and drinking much, but he was also insane. There were many highs and lows throughout their relationship. Years down the road at a party, Olivia's ex-co-star Errol Flynn made a cruel remark about her. John became enraged and confronted Errol, leading to a physical altercation. The two guys sustained various injuries, including fractured ribs, and wound up in the hospital. On August 26, 1946, Olivia de Havilland tied the knot with Marcus Goodrich. With 4 marriages under his belt, Marcus was 18 years Olivia's senior. Their marriage got off to a rocky start due to Marcus's quick temper and attempt. In 1949, Olivia devoted herself fully to raising their son Benjamin, a role that she enjoyed. Life with Marcus became more challenging, but she remained determined to make it work. Even though she considered getting a divorce, the commitment she made at their church wedding kept her stuck. Despite consulting a clergyman for guidance, at some point, Olivia reached her breaking point and decided she could no longer tolerate Marcus's behavior. They were no longer married by 1953 when she filed for a divorce, claiming he had been mentally abusive. Even though Olivia was crushed, she mustered up her strength for Benjamin. After he became her world, she did everything. At the Canadian Film Festival in 1953, Olivia met Pierre Galante, who was an editor at Paris Match a few years down the road. Their passion blossomed into a marriage in 1955, Adapting to her new environment, Olivia became fluent in French, soaked up the culture, and eventually blended in with Parisian society. Olivia was pleased to raise her kid there, away from the demands of celebrity, after she and Pierre had a daughter in 1956. But they had issues in their marriage. Their schedules clashed because of his hectic work schedule, and they didn't always see eye to eye. Olivia expressed a preference for remaining together voluntarily rather than being forced to do so by the law after they decided to split up in 1962. Together they raised Giselle and remained close friends. Until his death in 1998, Olivia cared for Pierre whenever he became ill in the 1990s. Their continued closeness was demonstrated by her commitment and generosity. No matter what, Olivia's children came first. Benjamin, who was born to her first marriage, was her beloved son. A statement she made was, "Benjamin is the most important thing in my life." She remained by his side during his battle with cancer, which he contracted while still a teenager. Benjamin passed away in 1991 when he was 41 years old. According to Olivia, it was the most devastating event of her life. Having a daughter named Giselle during her second marriage allowed her to spend her childhood in France. Giselle wasn't content to be known merely as Olivia de Havilland's daughter. Despite their closeness, Giselle occasionally struggled with her mother's celebrity. While Giselle was in the hospital, Olivia pushed Giselle to be self-reliant and value education. Being a grandma was something Olivia de Havilland cherished. A quote from Olivia de Havilland, "Being a grandmother is even better than being a mother. You get all the fun without the responsibility at 101 years old." This quote was made when she was still fighting. Unexpectedly, she sued FX Networks and the makers of Feudbet and Joan on June 30, 2017, the day before her 101st birthday. She felt that Catherine Zeta-Jones' portrayal of her role, who spoke about other people a lot, was inaccurate and untrue. Particularly upsetting to her were sequences in which her character insulted Joan Fontaine, her sister, and because Olivia had always been reserved and courteous, this depiction was very painful for her. Claiming that the show had emotionally tormented her and that death had damaged her reputation, she went to court over the matter. They should have compensated her and asked her permission to use her likeness, in her opinion. How much leeway should filmmakers have when depicting actual individuals, particularly those who are still alive? This is a major topic that the case raised. When the judge initially allowed Olivia's case to proceed to trial, it was a minor victory for her. A higher court disagreed with her in 2008 after appeal by FX, finding that the show was shielded by free speech. Attorneys for Olivia want to move the case to After losing, Olivia decided to take her case to the highest courts in the land, but they would not hear it. Even at 101 years old, Olivia demonstrated her strength and determination via her courageous action. After marrying French journalist Pierre Galland in 1953, Olivia enjoyed a fashionable and sedate life in Paris for many years. Elegant mementos from her Hollywood career, including her 2 Academy Awards, decorated her home. She delighted in combining European refinement with the allure of classic Hollywood at her intimate parties for friends and cultural figures. She found solace in Paris, which was more than simply a place to her. The Hollywood Golden Age came to a close with Olivia's death on July 26, 2020, at the age of 104. She was the final major star of that era. As she grew older, Olivia was bestowed with some of the world's most prestigious accolades. Her remarkable contributions to cinema were honored when President George W. Bush presented her with the National Medal of Arts when she was 92 years old. 2 years down the road, she received France's highest honor, the Legion of Honor. for her artistic contributions and lifelong ties to the City of Light. Olivia was made a princess by Queen Elizabeth II in 2017, shortly before her 1001st birthday. Dame was the first and only person in history to hold such distinction. It paid homage to her immense influence in Hollywood as well as her British-American roots. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences presented her with a special homage in recognition of her achievements and her courageous resistance to the Hollywood studio system throughout the 1940s. Actors' rights were revolutionized when Olivia prevailed in a landmark court battle in 1944, granting them greater autonomy and control over their professions.